Welcome to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I am your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-host, Tom Kokoza.
Hey, Joe, how's it going?
I'm good. I don't know. I'm doing good, I guess, Tom. How are you?
I'm okay. I guess, we both feel a little bit lonely tonight because it's just you and I.
Yeah.
Jen Cannon, she's not here.
Yeah. I'm sure you've noticed already that Jen isn't here. She had to cancel last minute, not because of anything bad that happened, but because of unforeseen.
She did murder a guy, and is on the run from the cops. But
yeah, okay, let's go with that.
oh, is that bad? I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, so hopefully she's on the way to a safe house now and will be able to rejoin us next week.
From prison. Live from prison. Just turn your news on and you'll see. So as I said, Jen is unable to be here tonight due to unforeseen circumstances. Everything is okay. Nothing related to anything dangerous or anything like that, except maybe murder. So Tom and I will be doing this. We'll be doing a duo tonight, a duet, right? That's what they call it, right?
Yeah, two-hander, if you will.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird that you just said that.
What? That's what they... All right, that's another phrase where it's just two people doing a scene or whatever. So
why would they call it a two-hander though? Like,
I don't know.
Because
there are four hands involved.
Yes, there are four hands involved. That's number one. And why are we talking about the hands?
Joe, I'm sorry, man.
To me,
I'll find out.
Means something totally different. So. There will be no what's happening tonight, so sorry about that again. We didn't have time to prepare one in Jen's absence, but we do have some news to talk about, some very, very important news. I feel like I wish we would have music, like breaking news kind of music.
Oh, yeah.
I wish we had some of that music and we could have done like a What Origins Watch kind of segment every week. Like, What Origins Watch?
Well, we could put it in now.
Well, it's only going to be. Well, that's true. What we
it's no, kind of.
No, what I was going to say is it's kind of over now.
Yeah.
For the foreseeable future, unless you just literally want to continue to do a What Origins Watch every week until it comes out.
Yes, I do. That's what I want to do.
All right, new segment. Cue music. I don't even know what should the title of the segment just be? What Origins Watch?
Watch Origins.
Watch Origins.
Watch.
Where's What Origins?
Okay. Yeah. Where's What Origins works.
Okay. Welcome to our new segment. Where's What Origins? Where we talk about the lack of What Origins being released. So we were told earlier, what was it, the end of last month, I guess, right?
Yeah.
At San Diego Comic-Con, Rafe's panel that he did, I shouldn't say Rafe's panel, but the Wheel of Time panel that they did, and also the Tweeter Chaos also tweeted out that we were going to get the final two episodes, or at least the final two episodes of What Origins in August. Well, guess what? It's September 1st, and we still haven't got What Origins. So yesterday, the Tweeter of Chaos tweeted out, "The intern of Chaos spilled coffee on the footage, so the new episodes of Origins won't be coming today. Please send kitchen towels and thoughts and prayers for the IOC," which no longer stands for International Olympic Committee.
Yeah, right.
That stands for the intern of Chaos. So, Tom, how do you feel about What Origins not being out in August?
Not good, Bob. So, yeah, I'm not thrilled about it. I have to say, I was really looking forward to it. I liked What Origins, and I was looking forward to new episodes of it. And I don't think we're going to get them anytime soon. I can't imagine they're going to release them while Rings of Power is coming out. So you're talking about, you know, well over a month before we have a chance to see them. And it's probably going to be a significant period of time after Rings of Power is over before they want to release any other fantasy content, like, non Lord of the Rings related. So, yeah, I'm a little disappointed.
I'm disappointed as well, Tom. This is the first time that the show's ever let us down. Wait, no, it has. No, it's not. This is the let me rephrase that. This is the first time that the show's ever gave us bad information.
Yeah, I think normally we talk about how we get no information from the show. This is the first time that they said this is the first time that they've given us a time frame and haven't hit it.
Yes, I agree with that. This is true.
And I don't know why.
Any thoughts on when we'll get it? I mean, you did mention obviously after Rings of Power. Do you think we'll get it this year?
Yes, I do. I think that there's a possibility we'll get it. Maybe coinciding with the year anniversary of the show. That'll be well after Rings of Power is done. Give a little bit of a buffer period for that, and then they could do something where they release an episode every week or release it all, in a big chunk and kind of like utilize that date or that year marker as and here's new stuff. And I kind of hope at that point they'll be able to give us a release date for season 2. But I do have hopes that we'll see it still in this calendar year, but not anytime in the month of September.
I almost wish now, I was going to just jokingly say, and what about you, Jen? I wish now I had more notice so I could have cut clips of Jen talking and put them, and then just like played them into the podcast.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess you could do that in post, but
Yeah, that's hard to work around that at this point. Just like 4 clips.
That's all
of her,
work
like,
for
saying,
you to do. So
maybe something like "so good," or just a few catchphrases to put in there. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm guessing they planned on having it out earlier, and then it got too close to Rings of Power. And I know people said, "Well, they're busy with Rings of Power." It's like that's not an excuse. Like you just have to literally, if the episodes are ready, all you have to do is post them onto the platform. So they clearly weren't ready. And then I'm guessing it got too close to Rings of Power, and they were like, "Well, we don't want to release it like day or two before."
Yeah, it's either they weren't ready, like they wanted to do something with them post-production wise, or it was literally like, a directive from above that, no, I know we were supposed to put them out now, but I don't want to put anything out that's not this, right? Like this is our big genre show for this quarter, and that's all we're putting out is this and nothing else.
We don't want to put out
got overridden.
6 minutes of other content to overshadow it, right? We don't want to overshadow it.
Everyone only look at this.
With our 3 minute, 3 to 4 minute animated shorts about another show. All right, moving on from Where's What Origins, WhatSeries.com reported that actress Hayley Mills will be in season 2 of The Wheel of Time. Tom, who is Hayley Mills?
She's Pollyanna. She's the original twins from The Parent Trap. She's Miss Bliss from Good Morning Miss Bliss, the prelude series to Saved by the Bell.
That's right.
Hayley Mills was a very, very famous child actress with, in Disney movies. And then she had some, she continued to act, I think, through her adult career. I haven't really seen her in much in a while, Joe. I didn't do any lookup on her CV in the last 20 years, but I don't think that she's really done too much, at least nothing of prominence.
She's done some TV.
Recently. Yeah.
She's done stuff in the last couple of years, just like TV spots here and there. You know, one or two episodes on popping up on a show. Looks
Like I
like
guest
she's
appearances and whatnot.
yeah. Looks like this year she's in Unforgotten, which is a TV series, one episode and two episodes in a show called Compulsion. She
Okay.
was in, I guess, a movie called Last Train to Christmas last year, and then another TV show in 2019, pitching in four
Last Train to
episodes.
Christmas sounds very much like a Hallmark or a Lifetime movie.
It does, and now I want to watch it.
Yeah, me too.
So Haley
I
Mills, right? They found
yeah.
this. It was on her CV. It just says Wheel of Time season 2. Doesn't say the name of the role. Doesn't even say the director involved. So we don't even have an idea of what episode she could be in. And I don't think What Series really knows anything about her whereabouts, if she was in the air in Morocco, in Prague, and whatnot. So there's really nothing more than she's on the show. So you mentioned she's played twins, Tom, before. Could she
True, she does.
reprise her role as twins in the Wheel of Time?
Ooh.
Well, not twin. Well, are Delius and Betty twins, or they're just sisters? I don't
I
remember
think
now.
they're just sisters. I don't think
Yeah.
they're twins. I think they look alike because they're old and sisters, not because they're identical. But I think that would be fun.
They could change them to twins.
They could. I am curious, and this just sparked something in my brain as you were kind of reading through. What if the reason she doesn't have a role assigned to, like, there's no is that she's in season 2 to really like play a role in season 3 and beyond. Like they don't want to kind of like drop who she is because it's almost like a spoiler for something in the future. Like, so maybe she'll have like a cameo in the last episode to like bring in something for a future part.
I'm going to say that she's playing someone fairly important.
Yeah.
And they told her, like, you can put it in your CV, but you can't put your character name because it's a fairly big character or someone.
Yeah,
like
I'm thinking the same. I'm all on the same lines there. That like revealing it would reveal something that they wouldn't want to put out there yet. And with like again, it's not like she's been in huge things like of late at all, but like she's kind of like a name, and then she's kind of something that I can't imagine is in a nothing part. Now it could be something like, whatever. Like towards the end of Game of Thrones, they just got like fairly big actors to be fairly small parts. They had Richard E. Grant play like the leader of like a theater troupe in like season 6 or something like that. Like he's in an episode or two, but he doesn't really do it. He's just there, like, because they're like, hey, you want him on, and they had what's his face.
Ian
McShane came on.
Yeah, for like an episode or whatnot.
Yeah, and almost like a featured cameo part. Like you're gonna have one episode, you're gonna have a few big scenes, and then you're out. So it could be something similar to that, but I kind of hope she has some sticking power. And
who do you think she's gonna be? Who's your best guess?
Well, I do like the Elias and Van Dien guessing. I wondered if they might age up like a character that we normally think of as a younger character. Like maybe blanking on her name now, but the Queen of Gildan that takes over.
Alejandra
or something like that. Like not a huge part, but like a kind of interesting part. Someone on Twitter, I think, threw out Sheriam is another part that like could be aged up, which I think would be like a fun. Yeah, Wheel of Cussin did. Great account. If you don't follow Wheel of Cussin on Twitter, you're missing out.
Yes, definitely good follow. I was thinking that too. Like they could age up somebody. I was trying to think of like an important enough character though. I mean, it could be Perrin. I know a lot of people think Mira Sayal's Perrin, but this could be Perrin. I saw people mention Cad Swain, bringing Cad Swain in early.
That was a thought that I had as somebody who might not actually really have a part this season, but like may show up towards the end or something like that. Like, but like Cad Swain, I feel like season 3 is almost too early for Cat Swain.
Yeah. Yeah, she won't show up till way later. Aiel, could she be one of the Aiel? Like wise
she
one?
Could be one. She could be a wise one.
Could we bring in Cerealia early, or maybe she's like Bayer, or?
I think that would be interesting. I think the other thing that I thought of, we kind of talked about this as a possibility that that Morghese isn't on the show, and maybe she's Linny, and Linny is on the show.
Yeah, I saw people say Linny or Laris, but I don't know. I don't like her as those characters. I don't know.
Linny, I wouldn't mind.
I feel like she definitely carries herself just like Haley Mills herself, and from what she's been in. She definitely carries herself. I could see her more as an Aes Sedai or wise one, somebody like more
like with authority.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. I have to say this. Like, I was unreasonably excited by this news. Really, like it's not like I'm some kind of gigantic Haley Mills fan. Like, for those of you who might be watching this, there's a bunch of posters and things behind me. None of them are of the Parent Trap, but like, I don't know. I grew up with Haley Mills. I grew up with Haley Mills movies, and like, I think it's just super cool to have somebody like that on the show. So I would, I think a wise one would be something that would be really fun and like kind of, like an interesting way almost to get audiences to like just buy into liking this character or trusting this character or whatever. But it doesn't matter to me. I guess that's really what I'm trying to say. I don't care who she plays. I'm excited that she's on the show, right?
All right. So, I guess we'll have to speculate some more on this. Maybe we'll get some more information at a later date of who she's going to be. I did want to say this. In the season 2 BTS footage that we got, there's the shot of, I went back and watched it, right? There's the shot of the woman, like, we think it's a woman with the long gray hair, right, from behind. I want to say, if you go back to that, there's like maybe 3 or 4 consecutive shots of people walking from behind. By the way, there's like a shot of Ran, there's a shot of her or him, and then there's a shot of somebody else, of Fane, and then I feel like there's a shot of somebody else too. There's just like interesting how they cut all those together. But, possibly could be Haley Mills.
Well, and didn't Rafe say something about that? Like no one's going to be able to guess who this is or something to that effect?
I think so.
Or like nobody had gotten who this was yet.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. He said nobody had guessed it. Like that was at the time of the Q&A that he did. So
right, but like, hey, like nobody would guess that Haley Mills is on the show. So yeah, I let's somebody do a shoulder match, I guess, between Haley Mills walking in Last Train to Christmas and Haley Mills. And this footage.
Challenge accepted? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Lauren Innkeeper, come on, guys.
There we go.
So,
all right, that's all the news we have for today. So let's get into our main topic. We're going to be continuing on our character speculation for season 2. This week we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite wolf brother, Gnome. No, just kidding, Perrin. We're going to talk a little bit about his journey in season 1, and then get into some thoughts about what we think is going to happen with him in season 2. So I will start with a recap of season 1. So we begin, I think one of the biggest shocks, well, not shocks for us, but shocks for the community, is that Perrin is married, right? That's a big change from the books. We get a little bit of an inkling of jealousy of Egwene from his wife, although it's very, 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 very subtle. If they had kept some of the other footage that they, I think, shot, it would have made a little bit more sense. He then kills her accidentally in Winter Night. He mopes around for a while. He gets licked by a wolf. Meets some tinkers with Egwene. Learns about the Way of the Leaf. Then gets captured by White Cloaks. He's tortured. He gets yellow eyes. Wolves come and help them escape by attacking the White Cloaks. Goes to Tarvalon, gets healed by Aes Sedai, gets in an argument with Rand about Egwene and that love triangle. Then he lets Fane and the Fades kill some Shinarans and stab Loyal and steal the Horn of Valir. Not a good first season for Perrin.
No.
Did I miss anything there? As I was going through and typing this, I was like, man, Perrin had a real rough first season. He did not do well.
He did not do well.
No.
Yeah, I think that, not to go too much over ground that we went over before, but Perrin's first season arc was really the arc I think that was impacted the most, other than Matt's, by Barney Harris leaving. Those two storylines and how they were supposed to resolve, and Perrin kind of got pulled out of what he was originally intended to be doing and got moved into like the Matt thing, and then they tried to fit in like Perrin's like violence struggle or whatever in that thing. And I think it was kind of awkwardly done, and it really just, they asked Marcus to kind of stand around and look at things and not say much, and like, that hurt. But that being said, Perrin has some of the coolest storylines. Well, I don't know about some of the cool storylines, but Perrin has some cool stuff to do in the next two books. They're going to be adapting into season 2.
Well,
right?
Let's find out, because I beg to differ on some of that.
Oh, okay.
Well, in The Great Hunt, at least, there's not much Perrin going on. He's just really there along for the ride. But there is something that from book 1 that is we're pretty sure we're going to get in season 2 that we didn't get in the first season, and that is meeting Elias. Right? We know Elias has been cast. We've seen the season 2 BTS where we're pretty sure we see Elias there with the Shinarans and Perrin. So I guess let's talk about that first. How do you think Elias will be introduced to Perrin, and what will be that interaction like? Are we going to get something similar to the books? How does Elias affect Perrin, and especially his state of mind at this time?
That's a good point. So I've talked about this before, where I think they're going to do it Elias, and I still think I think it's a good idea, and I hope they do it. That they're going to kind of combine Elias and Hopper into one character, and that he'll end up being Perrin's guide in both the real world and in the world of dreams. And that'll kind of also ease the audience into like, okay, here's a wolf that can talk. I'll go with that. I think that he is going to, like, at first he's going to scare Perrin, I think, with like, here's somebody who can do what I can do, but much, much more. And like, what does this mean? And blah, blah, blah. And eventually I think he's going to kind of help Perrin. Like, I think this season, Perrin's storyline in general is going to be getting past his trauma of what happened to him at the beginning of season 1. And like, he is going to be one element to doing that. And I think that you're going to find a lot of the Perrin struggle with like, I don't want to talk to wolves. I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be like, that's going to, I think he's going to, on the surface, kind of get past what, like by the end of the season, get past what happened to his wife. But like, that's going to segue into like his struggle to like reconcile where he is with the wolves. And I think just in regards to his introduction, I think that we kind of know he's going to replace Huron in the books, right, Elias? That he's going to be the tracker. Yeah,
definitely agree that they're going to combine him into Huron. Just from that shot we got of him with the Shinarans, which appears to be them on the hunt for the horn. So it seems like he'll just replace Huron. They'll say, oh, we know somebody who can track exceptionally well. Considering Elias's kind of remote, isolated lifestyle, it'd be interesting to see how they get him to come. I mean, maybe he won't be that type of character in the books, in the show, where he's not as, apprehensive about being around people. Maybe he owes them a favor or something like that. So he goes with them. I think I I'm still.
You all right?
I'm hearing. I'm hearing something. Are you not hearing that?
No.
That was weird. I heard Jen's voice and then some talking.
Nope.
You did not hear that at all?
No.
That was so spooky.
Oh, Jen.
Oh, there you go, Rouse. Oh, that was Jen.
I think Jen jumped into the Discord chat. I'm not in Discord.
She jumped into Discord to listen.
Jen, did you jump into Discord and talk?
That freaked me out. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? She jumped into Discord and she didn't mute herself and she was talking.
So Jen is here, guys, but she doesn't want to be on the show.
I think she's in a loud, crowded area, so she can't. Yeah. She can't be quiet. Okay. Okay, I wasn't going crazy. I was like, I know I heard Jen's voice, and then I heard other people talking.
I hope that, you know, those of you who are listening to this, just go and try and find the video of this moment so you can see my face when I consider, has Joe gone crazy?
I don't even know if you can. She might have been picked up on the recording. I'm not sure. Otherwise, I don't know. It might be on the video recording at least. Anyway, Elias. Yeah, I think I'm still not sure about the whole Hopper thing. I could see them doing that. I'm not sure if that's the way they're going to go with it. But I do think, you know, and I said this a while ago, I think he's the way that Perrin gets over Layla. I think Elias is going to kind of be that person that he talks to and confides in, and Elias is going to, you know, I guess help Perrin get over his guilt for killing his wife. So I think we'll at least, I think he'll play at least that role. Definitely we'll get a lot more information about wolves and Wolf Brothers and the Wolf Dream. So Tom, do you think Elias is going to die then? How do you think he's going to die then? Like in the beginning, early on, middle, later? How?
I would say probably there'll be, I think in the same kind of way, honestly. I think that you can have, well, not the same kind of way, but the same kind of way Hopper dies, where there's some sort of white cloak attack or something to that effect. It looks like from that behind-the-scenes footage, the White Cloaks are fighting Aiel. It looks like that the Shinarans are attacked by Trollocs. There's a possibility that it could be like some sort of four-way melee. I think that setting up Perrin and the White Cloaks as a recurring kind of, conflict, right? I think that echoes Perrin's conflict well of like, what does it mean to be good? What does it mean to be violent? All the rest of that stuff, right? And that while Perrin thinks of like, you know, losing himself to the wolf side, I think there's also an opportunity to kind of toy with like him, like what does it mean to be like moral or whatever else? Because the White Cloaks take that in the wrong direction a lot too. Plus, they just recur with him, I think, fairly often, right? They're going to be another. I imagine that they're going to continue to be a presence in season 3 and back in Two Rivers, and so you keep that going. I think is the way I would do it.
So we get in the book, in The Great Hunt, right? We get, you know, Perrin joins the hunt, which appears like what's going to happen, the hunt for the horn. I'm sure he feels guilty about, you know, just letting, you know, Fane and them walk out with it. So definitely going to join the hunt. I see that. We've seen shots of him with the Shinarans already there. So the way it goes in the books is that, right, is that Hurin and Rand and Loyal get kind of sucked into the portal stone world and one of the mirror worlds. And that's when Perrin kind of gets to use his wolf nose to help follow Fane. Do you think we're going to get something like that where, I mean, maybe it's Elias dies.
Yeah.
And then Perrin is the one then who uses his senses, you know, his keen wolf senses to follow Fane and the horn. Or we could that's I don't know.
I think you're right. I think that's where you're going, where he's like, I can do what he can do. Right. Where he kind of like he's fighting it the whole first portion of the season, and then he realizes like it's the only chance they have to like kind of to do this. That he has to embrace it, and then I think that's where you can like. Then he goes to sleep the first night, and that's where the first time he really enters the world of dreams or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the next thing, right, is we get, he reunites with the group. They all reunite in Kyrien. I'll just jump to it. When do you think Perrin and the Shinarans and Loyal, right? Did we see Loyal in the BTS footage with the Shinarans?
Yeah.
He was? Okay.
You don't see him.
Not in those couple of Shinaran
you don't
shots.
see him with the Shinarans. You see him with Perrin in what we think is Falm.
Yeah. Well, we see a couple of people in that shot. I think we see Rand in there too.
Yeah.
So when do you think Perrin reunites with Matt, Rand,
the end?
Whoever else? You think it's in Falm?
Episode 7, yeah.
You think it's just going to be, they're going to be split up basically the entire time. There's going to be no reuniting in Kyrien. We'll keep them apart. He continues the hunt for the horn. So do we see an opportunity here to include some of the things in The Dragon Reborn? Because there's a little bit more in that, right? There's, at least for Perrin, right? He meets Fael in that book. He meets Gaul and frees Gaul in that book. So you think that we'll get those two? We know we're pretty sure he's going to meet Aviendha before he gets to Falma, right?
Yep. I think that we're worried. We were worried by that initial Aviendha script leak. That Gaul might not be on the show. That Aviendha might fill that role for him, at least here, which I don't love for multiple reasons. Basically, because Gaul's the best. But I think that if you're going to be doing the Shadow Rising as season 3, you need to introduce Fael in this season. And it could be, she could be doing the same thing without the same setup or whatever, just like, hey, I'm a hero from the Horn. I'm nosing into your party, because if I see like a bunch of Shinarans, some guy who's not Shinaran, and an Ogier walking around, I think that you guys might find the Horn or whatever, and you can have just an episode of them kind of bickering or whatever before they get to Falm. I think that
we haven't had any hint of any actors who could be Fael at this point, right?
I think there are a couple of women that have been cast in the show. I thought there's a possibility that they could be Fael.
Who?
I don't remember any of their names right now.
I don't remember that coming up with anybody.
Yeah, I threw it out there. I was the only one, but I threw it out there.
Okay. So how far into the season then do you think he meets Fael? Well, obviously he has to get over episode 7. You're saying at the very end. Episode
6. I would say episode 6. And like I think episode 7, they're all at Falm. Because this is with the possibility that that episode 8 had some declining action in the season, one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So that could all be backloaded one episode and just making episode 8 like they did in the first season. Episode 8 is the big climax episode. But I think that you can probably, if Perrin's whole season is him going across the country basically on foot and on horse or whatever, you could take a lot of time to do that. And I think that he doesn't have to meet Fael until late in the season, and you can only have like an episode or 2 of them bickering or whatever. Because I don't think you're going to end this season with what ends in The Dragon Reborn, where he I guess admits that he loves her, and she's trapped in a hedgehog, and he goes rescues her.
Well, they could put that in there, right? I mean, you could put that in there at the end, and that's Perrin's little part. While, we have five ride forth in the Great Hunt, right? Maybe they all meet outside of Falma, right? Maybe one of them, maybe Rand's in Falma, we don't know. But maybe they meet outside, or maybe they're inside, and you could have that whole scenario where maybe Perrin and the Shannarans or Fael are staying at an inn, and there's a whole thing where she gets captured and he has to go into the wolf dream. If this is going to be the book where we start, I just keep saying book and season interchangeably. If this is going to be the season where we're going to really get into the wolf brother part and the wolf dream, this is where you would put that scene, like climax. That would be Perrin's climax. Then, like he goes into the wolf dream. You know, he meets Elias early on. Elias teaches him, possibly dies, becomes Hopper. Perrin starts going to the wolf dream more. He's getting guided by Hopper. And then at the end, there's his climax is that he is able to save Fael, kind of almost like a redemption from killing his wife. He's able to actually save Fael.
I do like that, but I think that they're gonna want all of the main actors with like the heroes of the horn blowing. That's the only thing I think. I don't think that they're gonna, unless they do a thing like we talked about as a possibility, although I don't necessarily think this is likely anymore, where that all happens and then episode 8 is where Rand fights, Balzi, and then they go get Calendar or whatever. And then you could do like, and this is what Perrin's doing while that's all happening. But I like that, but I also think that you could probably put that in somehow a trap at the end of like the Shadow, like at the end of Perrin's storyline, the Shadow Rising, and that's why he's so weak for the last battle, because he just like fought this whole dream battle. Then he has to go out and try and like lead the troops or whatever. But that doesn't work because Fael's going off to get the other people at that time. So I don't think I like that, and I wouldn't mind if they did it. I don't think they need to do that, because I also think that like kind of like Perrin's power level in the World of Dreams like kind of goes back and forth a little bit. The
World of Dreams kind of the Wolf Dream kind of disappears for Perrin, right? He doesn't really use it much in the middle of the latter middle of the series. It's like just I'm trying to like recall. I'm in the Gathering Storm right now in my reread, and they're starting to go heavy back into the Wolf Dream. Like it's getting set up, and But before that, like the couple of books before that, he doesn't really go into the Wolf Dream. It's kind of like forgotten because he's so obsessed
he's obsessing about. Yeah.
And I think he might go in like once or twice just to kind of. I think he goes in to like see what's going on in Malden, and just get the layout of the land. But he doesn't do anything except just kind of wander around and look.
Yeah, I guess like. I think that like while a lot of the characters' power levels like kind of ramp up as the series goes on, right? To a certain extent, like he's just like his problem is not like he's great at the World of Dreams like pretty much immediately, and then he just doesn't want to do anything there, and that's just like it's not like a level up problem. It's not like he has to learn new stuff. It's about he has to like embrace himself, and like that's what he does at the end, and then he's like some sort of super master. But I don't know if they want to. Like, I think it makes more sense for it to be like a more gradual build. Do you want to mention these? Like, I think we talked a little bit about the fact that maybe Gaul's not in the show because of like what we heard about Avienda. There's some ideas in chat as we're watching about a way to bring Gaul in, but keep what we think might happen with Avienda. I don't know if we want to talk about that.
Yeah, Raur says Avi asks Gaul to protect Perrin. I guess for season 3, she needs to fulfill her toe to Perrin while also needing to return to the ways to study as a wise one. I did respond saying that doesn't seem very Aiel-like though. It's almost like she's passing her toe to Gaul. I don't think. I mean, they could change how like Gia toe in the show, but just going from what we know of the books, like an Aiel would never do that, right? They wouldn't say like, okay, as I'm to meet my toe, I'm going to assign someone to protect you.
I think that there's a possibility that if you make them family, like if you make them brother and sister or first cousins or whatever,
even then it would be insulting, right? It's like even if like somebody else tried to help you meet your toe, that would kind of be insulting. But like I said, they could obviously change that. They could change the whole Gia toe and how I guess strict they are with it and understanding it and following it. I don't know. I don't like that idea.
what you can say is that she doesn't have toe to him. That you could do something where it's like Gaul felt it was his responsibility to protect her. He didn't. Perrin did, and now Gaul's like,
Well,
you
he would
saved
have
her life. I have to save your life.
Wouldn't he have toe to Avienda then because he didn't fail to protect her?
Yeah, and then you could do it. Then it's if you want to repay my toe, you stay here with him. I have to go back, and that's how you repay me. And then that works.
I don't know.
It works. It's not. It's a stretch, but it works.
Could Gaul be like the first really heartbreaking character cut? Like we haven't gotten any heartbreaking character cuts yet. Yes. I mean, we're only in the first season.
If Gaul's not in the show, he is by far. Like I don't know if they'll
He's
make
a fan
one that
favorite.
Will be more
so
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he meets Gaul in season 3. You know, maybe he's just an Aiel that, you know, it could be the end of season 2, right? In Falm, maybe he saves Gaul's life during when they're all fighting in Falm with the White Cloaks and the Shan Chen. I mean, it's possible he saves 2 people's life. I mean, maybe the meeting with Avienda is kind of like a setup or foreshadowing of like.
And again, maybe that's not an actual thing that happens in the show, and they're taking a conversation that he actually has with somebody else and merging it with a conversation that he has with Avienda. Just to give Avienda.
Yeah, they could have just put the name Avi, or it wasn't Avienda, right? They didn't actually put her name.
Yeah, whatever.
It just seemed like it was Avienda's character. They could have just did that, and really, it was a scene intentionally made for Gaul. But I believe it is maidens, and they're mentioning that there are maidens in that, and she talks about Spear Sisters. But she also talks about, right? There's in that conversation is about him feeling. He wants to almost die or whatever because of what, you know, he's still feeling guilty about his wife, and she's kind of like explaining to him like that's not how you you know, doing this is not honorable, like this is not how you honor your wife,
right? Right.
So I don't know. Does that mean then maybe Elias isn't the one who helps him get over that, and maybe it's the Aiel help him, or is it coming from different directions? And
I think it's coming from different directions. I think everyone helps him. I think Loyal is going to help him. I think the Shadowruns are going to help him. I think Elias is going to help him, and I think the Aiel are going to help him. I really do think I think that the arc of his season in season 2 is going to be he is over the trauma, right? He'll still carry around the grief and the caution and whatever else, and that's always going to be a part of him, but he won't be somebody who's just everything that he does is like filtered through this, oh, and I killed my wife kind of veil, and he'll be able to act on his own. And it's also going to set up like this, it's going to set up the Fael relationship going forward, right? If he meets her in this season, and like the last piece of that will be him realizing that he can have a relationship again, and it's not like a betrayal or whatever else. And that, I think, will be the culmination of his of the next season. Will be.
Can we get like a slap line like in the movie Airplane, where just they all line up to slap Perrin and tell him to get over it, man?
You have the wrench.
Fael, Elias, Hopper. You just see like Hopper come up and smack him with the paw.
Paul's got the boxing gloves on it.
The Shanarans, yeah. I mean, yeah, it could be. You know, it's probably a combination of all of them. I think throwing Fael though there towards the end, and maybe I don't know. I think you could kind of do the end of the Dragon Reborn with him. It does seem so close, though. I do agree. Like, you just killed your wife like a couple of months ago, and now you're already starting to... Like, maybe he doesn't have feelings for her. Maybe he just feels... Like you said, he's kind of replacing her with his wife, and not in the sense of an actual, for companionship and love, but more of like, I need to rescue you because I killed my wife, and it'll make me feel better if I save you.
Right, and that'll be like, he has to learn to like respect her. She's her own person, which is the problem that like he has with grieving his wife, is like he's blaming himself for a decision that she made, and yeah, I definitely don't think that I don't think there should be any kind of like, we really like each other at the end of the season. I think there is I think you need to like, again, I just don't think that you want to start season 3 with like, and here's a bunch of new characters and everything else. Like, here's some lady who just was wandering around farm. She's going to come back to the Two Rivers with me. If you have like, they have a pre-established relationship that is, you know, whatever, like has some sort of meat to it. And her main in like, her original thing is like, I'm going to stick with you because I think that you might find the horn. Oh, you have the horn. Oh, okay. Like, you're involved in all this stuff. Well, I'm going to continue to stick with you, right? Because who knows what's next, and then that can develop into a romantic relationship over the next season.
So you just brought something up too that I didn't even make a note of. The hunt for the horn, like the great hunt. Like, it's a big thing, right? The hunt gets called every X amount of years, or I don't think it's a set amount, but do we get that kind of mythological event happening, and there's a call for the hunt for the horn, and they run into, maybe obviously Fayola's the hunter of the horn. Do they run into other hunters of the horn? Is that a thing, like a big event in this season?
I hope that it is, right? I think that we theorized back. This is the worst. Remember, there was an actor that like said like, "Hey, I can't tell you the character's name because you might know what it is, but I ride a horse."
Stuart.
Right.
Yeah, Stuart something.
I think that one of the things that we predicted is that maybe he's one of the hunters for the horn, right? That like, and I think that you don't even have to necessarily have that Ilian calls a great hunt.
Stuart Kenneth
right?
Moore.
But like, you can just have that like, this is like what people do. Like, when they don't, like, if they feel a call for adventure and they want to leave their home, whatever, like, they're hunters for the horn, and they go out and they try and like do things and find great deeds or whatever, yeah, I think that it's interesting, right? Because you're introduced to Fayola in the books as she's a hunter for the horn, and they've already found and used it. Whereas in this case, she's a hunter for the horn if she gets introduced in this season, and it's like, oh, and you have it. Oh, okay. You blew it. Like, your friend blew it. Oh, okay. And that puts her in a, like, that changes that dynamic a little bit, right?
Well, I would assume when he met her, they wouldn't have the horn yet. It would be like, oh, you're a hunter for the horn? Oh, we know where it is. We're going after it right now. And we know who has it.
That is a very book Perrin, early Perrin thing to do, or like early Matt thing to do too, which is just like totally just tell people a secret that you're not supposed to tell everyone. Perrin does that a lot in book 3, where he's just like doesn't understand the importance of like keeping your mouth shut sometimes. So I could see him doing that, like getting annoyed by her and like, you're looking for the horn? I know where the horn is. Whatever. I mean, wait, no, I don't. Just please leave us alone. Kind of a vibe. And that, like, just for him to have any sort of, like, to an audience, lighthearted exchange with somebody, right? I think will help kind of also break those clouds.
Yeah. I mean, Marcus has got the brooding part down.
Yeah.
I hope we get a little bit past that. I really do. Like I said, reading that recap of season 1, I just realized like how terrible of a season Perrin had. Not just as a character, but also from a viewer perspective. It was like, this guy just keeps kind of like, having bad luck or screwing up, or, he's just not doing well. And I hope something turns this around. So I want to see that. I want to see some sort of turnaround in season 2 where, he gets over his. I feel bad saying like he gets over killing his wife.
Not like
That's so silly,
it's not like he's like,
not he gets
forget
over
her.
it, but he comes to terms with it.
He comes to terms with it.
And he, he doesn't, he gets over his guilt for
Yes.
it, and he accepts it, that this was a mistake, but also it's not necessarily his fault. The town got attacked by Trollocs. Like, that's why this all happened. It wasn't him that really did this. I want him to come to terms with that, and then kind of be able to get past that and be able to become a much better character and a much more likable, a much more enjoyable character.
Yes. I think that that's the goal in season 2, right? Is to get you to understand that, like, the Perrin that you saw in the first half of the first episode, that's like a great friend and like kind of a cool dude and whatever else, like that guy's still there and he can still be a cool guy to watch and root for. And I think you're also going to be able to get to see him be badass in the season as well. I think he's going to be in a lot of combat, even though he doesn't want to be.
I don't know. Like we saw that one scene with the Shanarans, and it looked like Trollocs they were fighting, and he was just standing to the side, not doing anything while the Shanarans were fighting.
I think that that's going to still be a thing. Right? I think that's always a thing with him about like, but like here it's going to be something where like he's already seen he's seen like what happens when he doesn't fight, right? And like it's going to be a thing, but he's gonna fight in the season, and that's the other reason why while I wouldn't mind if they did the hedgehog dream trap thing, I also think that they're gonna want to see him like going kind of buck nutty.
Well, he
right?
never had a problem though going buck nutty against like Trollocs and Shadowspawn. Right, it was never any ambivalence with that. It was always when it was fighting other humans or men. You know,
right.
women,
well, he's gonna
whatever.
be fighting Shanshan at the end.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's when, right, which with Trollocs and whatnot, there was never like, oh, I'm a little apprehensive. Do I want to swing at them and hurt them?
Well, he doesn't really have, his conflict is about giving into like the battle rage,
the
but
animal
not like
inside.
Yeah, but like he never really
inside.
is like he in the books. I don't really feel like he's tempted by the way of the leaf. I think he's more like considering about like, am I too violent? Not like violence is not the. I don't think he ever thinks about like, should I become
he
one
thinks
of
about losing control.
Yeah, it's just I think in the series, at least in the first season, like he really is like, he's really like considering like, should I go down this other path? And that's why
I keep thinking of the song. I keep hearing of Wolf and Man by Metallica in the back of my head. So,
all right, cool.
I'm going to listen to that song when we're done recording because that's a pretty badass song, also. Yeah, it's about him losing control. Do we get right? Because don't we also get him meeting Gnome in book 3? Right?
Yeah.
Is that book 3 where he meets Gnome? So that's another interesting thing. You could do Perrin could have a huge story arc because between books 2 and 3, and I mean, like I said, there's not really that much in book 2. But if you take what happened in season 1, and then you take the story of Perrin in book 3, in the Dragon Reborn, there's a lot there. Like you could put a lot in here to really build around Perrin. You know, with the Gaul scene, and maybe it switches to Aviendha, with Elias, with Fael, with Gnome, with Hopper. There's a lot to put in here that you could really, really flesh out his character and if you do it right, do a really good job on making Perrin a little bit more, as I said, I think the word was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And take a little joy in watching his character as opposed to season 1 where you would just like, you know, he was either not having a good day every day. That's basically what it was like.
Was the dude from Falling Down?
Yes. No.
Really
that was enjoyable.
What's
More
true?
of just like, you know, just not having a good day kind of thing. A case of the Mondays every day, Perrin. Where either just bad things were happening or he was just kind of sulking about it. So, right. I mean, you're right. He accidentally killed his wife, so I get that part. So I guess maybe it's a little hard for us to grasp it and connect it to these other events that happened in the books because that doesn't happen in the books. So how do we get from show Perrin a little bit towards book Perrin?
Yeah,
there's a lot to build around.
It is. I think they have a lot of elements, and I don't know if I think, you know, of all of those things, there's opportunity to put more of that stuff in season 3. You don't have to say like he goes to the ways at the beginning of season 3 and he goes to the 2 rivers and that's it. Like you could have something where he travels around for a bit before he gets to a Waygate, and like then he meets Gnome, or then he meets Gaul, or then he does whatever. Like you could have a couple of episodes before he gets back to the 2 rivers in season 3, but the end of Perrin's storyline in season 3 is like one of the most triumphant, cool ends for like storyline wrap ups for a character, and at the end of Shadow Rising. So you have to get to a point where like you, the audience, can celebrate with him being Lord Perrin Golden Eyes, right?
Mm.
Joe, you look like you heard Jen's voice again.
No. Sorry.
Like I think that you have to get him to a point where like the audience feels comfortable celebrating his win, right? At the end of what we think the end of season 3 will be, right? And then you're like, I don't even know like how like we'll go what happens after that, but we're just talking about season 2, so we can work about it afterwards. But like, yeah, I think you're right, and I think that when I talked about the storyline for him being like he deals with his trauma, I think that coincides with him being a character that you can enjoy watching on screen. Not that you can enjoy his performance. His performance was very good in season 1, but like it's not something that is like you don't want to, gee, I wonder what's making Perrin miserable in this next scene. Like it's not like something that you're looking forward to watching, because he's just kind of, he's got a couple of, yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So yeah, I think that all comes together, and I think if you can have him get to a point where he can act without thinking about the consequences of his actions by episode 8.
He never does that though. Perrin never.
Well, he does when he's in combat. He does when he's in combat, right?
Yeah, you're right. He does. That's the wolf.
Give me a little taste of him sledging Roland's head.
So that's what I was actually going to say when I was interrupting you. Was like we have to get, because he had the one rage moment. That was it in the first episode, and from there on, it was like, I'm out of the game. Don't ask me to get involved. We're gonna get. I want to get another rage moment. I want to get another Perrin, like, something bothers him or enrages him, and he just picks up an axe or a sword. We see he has a sword by his side, I think, in the BTS footage. So it's still no axe. I don't know what's going on with that. They're not getting the great metaphors with the axe versus the hammer.
They'll get it.
Although we did see 2 white cloaks carrying axes.
Yeah.
So maybe Perrin picks up one of those axes and kills one of the white cloaks. Maybe we get Perrin killing the white cloaks in this season.
Yes, I think that they're going to kill.
I don't know how that builds off of him already killing his wife. But is that? Do we get another rage moment?
Yes.
Where he loses it and he just goes crazy and goes into Berserker Perrin and kills. Not like a killing spree, but a savage killing.
I think he does. I think that he just kind of. I think he does. I think that you could do that with Elias getting killed. And like, if there's some sort of combat between a bunch of different forces or whatever, Perrin's trying to back away. The white cloaks come in. They see Elias has golden eyes. They kill him. He goes buck nutty and kills like 4 white cloaks with their own axes or whatever. And then then you can have him have that axe and like keep it with him as a reminder of what he did. Or maybe, and I can't recall off the top of my head, maybe he picks up Elias's axe and Elias has one and he keeps that with him as a memento, a memento of him and what that means to him or whatever. And then now at the end of the Great Hunt, when the heroes come, they ask Perrin to hold the banner, right? Perrin becomes Rand's bannerman, and Matt becomes the hornblower. They don't actually fight at all. They just kind of lead the troops out to battle, right?
I think Perrin has the banner, right? Does he? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he does, and I think because like that's I think it's very like indicative of like Perrin's relationship with Rand throughout the series going forward.
So just some feedback from Discord. There's comments that the show has to dramatically slow Perrin's story down. I don't know if I feel like his story, maybe his like character development, so much. And then mention that Fael gets the same screen time in season 2 that Ming got in season 1. So we get like maybe 2 scenes with Fael, which totally shoots down my hedgehog scene. But then, like, how do you, if you don't get Fael into the show, how do you get her and him together and going to the Two Rivers in season 3? You could have Fail. He could meet Fail in the Two Rivers when he goes back. Maybe she's hunting for the horn, and she stops in the Two Rivers, and he meets her there, and then they get kind of, that's actually a great spot to build that romance. Is he goes back to the Two Rivers because he hears that the White Cloaks. Well, all right. So let's take a step back, because I'm talking about stuff that we're not even talking is going to happen in season 2. The reason he goes back to the Two Rivers is because there are White Cloaks there kind of causing trouble, right?
Right.
So something has to happen in this season with White Cloaks, unless they change the reason entirely of why he goes to the Two Rivers. But you would think something has to happen with White Cloaks in this. Like you said, maybe he goes berserker nuts, just like he did in book 1. And maybe that's some of the stuff that Rafe said in that from book 1 that's going to be in this season. We talked about Elias. We said, oh, definitely Elias. But what about Perrin killing White Cloaks? That could be it, right? So then that sets up him going back to the Two Rivers because the White Cloaks are now there and they're causing trouble because he killed White Cloaks, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe he hasn't met Fail yet. If we don't want to push Fail into this season, he goes back to the Two Rivers and he meets Fail there. And she's not from the Two Rivers, but she could still be a hunter for the horn, or he could meet her on the way there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? He could meet Gaul on the way to the Two Rivers as well. Like maybe that stuff could happen in season 3. And as he's journeying back to the Two Rivers with Loyal, he meets Fail, rescues Gaul, then gets to the Two Rivers. And all that happens within like the first 2 episodes of season 3.
Yeah, you could do that. I think that, right, if you have a period of time where they're just staying wherever they end this season at, whether it's at Falm or it's at Tyr or wherever, enough time for the White Cloaks to have left Falm and go, we're gonna get that guy. We know where one of them lives, whatever. Or feign to, or you can see like Fane has corrupted the White Cloaks and he's leading them to the Two Rivers. Right. I think that, I think that you don't necessarily have to do it. We're just jumping in the ways and we're going. You can have them travel for a bit and then decide to use the ways or not or whatever. I think there's definitely some of the things that we talked about you could push it into season 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the more important part of it, I almost feel like the more important part of Perrin's storyline is not the plot, it's the character development. I think that we both agree, no matter what elements you put in, at the end of this season, Perrin has to be somebody who is not completely like within his own head and somebody that is engaging and like you can kind of root for as a viewer.
Yeah,
right?
He's cool. He's got He's got Wolf Brother skills, but he's afraid of that.
Mm-hmm. He still has his conflicts. It's just that he's not like trapped by them. He can still act and do things and be proactive and be engaged with the world and not be like in his own shell.
Yeah, I think that makes. So I think if you talk about those 3 encounters that he has in the story with Fail, Gaul, and Gnome, I would definitely put Gnome in this season, in season 2, right? Because if you're going to start getting into Wolf Brother, that's setting up the whole, the conflict, the inner conflict that he has with being a Wolf Brother. And then you could push Gaul and Fail off until the next season. And, you don't get, I don't know how involved, if Berelain's going to be a character in the story, but you do get that, you do miss that Berelain, situation with her and Fail, the rivalry there. You'll miss out on that. But I think you don't really need that for the story. It's fun. It's entertaining, but it's not intrinsic to the story at all. It does. And
you don't have to have that start now. You could have that start later and still work.
Yeah, it could be when Perrin goes back. Right?
Yeah.
Then Berelain's Berelain doesn't need to be introduced then. She could be introduced earlier, but that's when, the whole thing with Berelain happens. If you want, I like it. I just think it's fun, the interactions between Fail and Berelain, and especially when they get in the fight in the beginning of Shadow Rising. And Rourke has to break them up. I love it. But yeah, there's a lot of ways they could play this. And I think I'd be happy with a lot of variations on what they can do. I think we'd want them to hit those beats, though. And I don't think, like you said, it's about his character development, but you want those pieces of plot there because I think those are good pieces. It's not like I'm just saying that because I read the books and I'm a fan of the books, but the whole, meeting Gnome is key, right? That's a conflict that goes on through Perrin throughout the entire books, is him being concerned about losing himself to the wolf, just like Gnome did. Right. And then that resolving at the end where he realizes that, he learns that Gnome chose that. He wanted to be more wolf. It's right. Oh my God, what's that movie where it's like you choose your own level of involvement? Oh no, that's from Fight Club, right? That's from Fight Club. Brad Pitt says you choose your own level of involvement or whatever to Ed Norton.
Maybe.
I think it's Fight Club.
Oh yes, to Ed Norton he says it. Yes.
Yeah, he says it to Ed Norton. Like, yeah. So I think it's like that. So I think that's really important. Obviously, he has to meet Fail. That's really important to Perrin's character too. And Gaul, he doesn't need to meet Gaul though. Like, Gaul doesn't have to be in the story. He's just a really awesome character, but he doesn't need to be there.
No, he doesn't need to be there. I do think that it is important that Perrin excluding like the Taviran whatever, like Perrin naturally forms a coalition of every group of people in the world, and they all follow him and love him, right? Like everyone who wars with each other, doesn't like each other. He's got Aiel, he's got the Gildan, he's got the Mayene, he's got
eventually Shanchan working with them
and
too.
The White Cloaks. He gets everybody.
It's funny, right? Isn't the part of the Carythian cycle about like talking about how the dragon will bind people to him, all the peoples to him, and you're like, well, Perrin does that too, kind of. So
yeah,
it does bind a lot of people to him. So,
and he does, but like Perrin does it by like being great, like being a great leader, and like being a great person, and like being super like he's not like a great, like, Matt is a great battle leader, right?
He's a great
and like
general.
People are like,
right?
He's a great general. I'm like, I'm sticking with this dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Soldiers follow him because he's a great general. He's not necessarily a great leader of people.
No.
He's a great general, and that obviously translates into being a great leader of soldiers, right? That doesn't necessarily well, Perrin's just like a great leader of people.
Yes.
And Rand's just not a great leader at all.
No, he's a good politician. He's a good politician.
He's a clever, and I can't think of the other word though. But he learns that from Tom, which I don't know if we'll get that in the show.
And Elaine.
He does learn some of that. Well, and Moraine too. But he learns a lot of that from, I think, Tom during the second and third books. He learns
into the fourth book. Right?
Yeah, the beginning of the fourth book. But you're right, he does also learn a lot from Elaine as well. Yeah. All right, is there anything else that we missed, or anything else you wanted to talk about with Perrin in season 2?
No, I think we got it all.
We definitely got it all. Jen, anything you wanted to add? Okay, so let's wrap it up here. We have a new patron. We have one new patron. This patron actually came in while we were recording last week, and I guess we missed it because it happened during our recording. But I want to welcome Wolf Brother into the Illuminators Guild. Wolf Brother, thank you so much for supporting us. You're an awesome person. I've met you in person. You were part of the WatCon crew. You were the volunteer coordinator. You got all the volunteers together and were able to make that work and make that happen and make WatCon run with all those volunteers. You're also awesome because you made some awesome dirty martinis at WatCon. So,
yeah, you're a generally great person, and thank you so much for the support.
Yeah, and thank you to all our Patreons again for supporting us. We really appreciate you. I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can join us over in Discord to continue the conversation there. Or rate and review us wherever you listen to our podcasts, and check out our merchandise and Patreon pages to support us. I want to go back to that rate and reviews. We got to have another, I think we'll have another rate and review contest coming up soon, right? Where people leave reviews. let's get that
like
together, and we'll more to come on that. We should do another one of those. That was fun. We've been posting our episodes, recording video and posting them on YouTube. So if you want to go check us out on YouTube instead of listening to us the traditional podcast way, you can do that. Go to our YouTube page. Links to all the aforementioned information is included in the show notes to this episode. Any last thoughts, Tom, before we wrap this up?
Happy birthday, Brendan.
Happy birthday, Brendan, friend of the show, Brendan Johnston. And also friend of the show, Mike Armstrong, who none of you know.
Sure.
They share a birthday. And Jen, we miss you. It wasn't the same without you. And we hope to have you back. We'll have you back next week. Extra special. We'll have a welcome back party for you. Yeah. With confetti and horns and poppers and all that kind of stuff. Plenty of booze as well.
I like it.
And we'll keep tabs on what Origins and if it's come out. All right. Thanks everyone for listening, and you'll hear us next time.